Hello, and thank you for joining me again today on the Finding Hope After Loss podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. You can really help the show reach more loss and infertility families by taking a moment to leave a positive review or rating on Apple or Spotify. You can also check out more information about the episode in the show notes at journeyforjasmine.com. Today I'm talking with Brooke, who has been navigating infertility for 2 years while also balancing the challenges of military life and a struggle with endometriosis. She opens up about the emotional ups and downs of her journey and the hope she found through creating Fertile Hope photography. Hello, everyone. Today I'm here with Brooke. Brooke, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Yes, thank you, Sarah, for having me on the pod today. So, for one, I am also a podcaster, I'm a photographer, but what kind of makes me unique is I am currently going through my own fertility journey. Me and my husband are. And so, all of this is really born from our desire to have kids and how that's personally affected me. I have a holistic health certification because I wanted to advocate for my own health and then help other women navigate the fertility journey. So I'm kind of multifaceted. I wear many hats. I have quite a few accounts I have going on, but I love it. I'm passionate about all of it.
Yeah, that sounds like me too. I like to do a lot of different things, but then I'm like, wait, I can't, like, which thing am I doing right now?
Yes,
Like hard to keep
100%.
up sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny.
So do you mind talking a little bit about your infertility journey so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so I'm like, how should I shorten it a little bit? Because otherwise I'd be here forever. Well, in short, we've been trying for 2 years, but it's kind of confusing because he's also in the military. So I still say we've been trying for 2 years, although in actuality, he hasn't been here physically. So it's been emotionally, we wanted to have kids for 2 years. And I always like, I honor that time. I'm like, no, we've had that desire on our heart for 2 years. So anyways, yeah, he travels a lot with his job, but what really got this journey started was back whenever I was teaching, I knew that I wanted to have kids. I had this whole realization like a year prior when he was on a big deployment that when he came back, I wanted to have this conversation with him of I'm ready for us to start trying. And so I was teaching and I kept having this, it was such a, I would say a spiritual experience of it, the nagging feeling wouldn't go away that I was meant to quit my dream career. I was like, what? Why would I quit my dream career? This makes zero sense. I have a job that's paying like okay money. I kind of enjoyed it, and then all of a sudden, it's like everything started happening to show me like, okay, well, here's more reasons why you should leave because you don't want to leave. Like it's so funny. All of a sudden, just like the ceiling dropped out. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So then I really did want to leave. I was like, okay, yeah, there was just a lot going on with it. Anyways. And so whenever I talked to them about leaving, really the main thing on my heart was I felt like I was meant to go pursue starting our family. And for whatever reason, I just had this intuition. And I could even call it like Holy Spirit feeling that it was not going to be easy and I needed to do research for ourselves. And so I hoped that wasn't the case. And I was still kind of carrying this like glimmer of hope, like, okay, well, it happens for so many people. So why wouldn't it happen for us? I already was eating a certain way because I have to with different medical conditions I have. So it's like I already watch what I eat. I'm not great at exercising, but like I go on walks, so I don't know. And so I then was like, okay, I'm gonna test his blood work because in the military there's not really such thing as a functional wellness exam where you get your blood work looked at, anything like that. And so I looked at his blood work. I was like, oh my goodness, we need to talk about some things. We realized, I guess begrudgingly, that it was going to take a lot of work on his part and on my part because I was also going through some endometriosis pain that just kept getting worse. So we're like, okay, this isn't going to be easy. And we weren't in a time when we really could work on his side of things because he was hardly home. It was very inconsistent, like here, back on the ship all the time. Like not any kind of routine whatsoever. So it's like, I'm going to work on my stuff. And then when you get back, we'll work on your stuff. And so that's what I did. I had my endometriosis removed this past March, and it literally changed my world. I can't believe it. And yeah, so now we're kind of in the information gathering phase for him because he is on shore duty or going on to shore duty. So we have a little more wiggle room now. So it was kind of, it took a time to accept, like, okay, it really wasn't the time, even though we wanted it to be the time. There needed to be a lot more in place. But I was glad that I had the knowledge and insight that I had as a certified nutrition consultant in fertility now because of all this going on. I had done all these courses. I also did additional research. I was constantly like researching because I wanted to learn as much as I could about fertility and holistic health and things that could be missed. And so that was why we were able to like jumpstart a lot of things. Like people don't know that you can get sperm tested before even going to the doctor. Like they don't know that you can do a semen analysis, and if you go to the doctor and expect them to give you one, if you haven't been trying for a year, they're going to kind of laugh at you. There's a lot that you can advocate for yourself. So that's kind of what our journey has been, is like advocating for ourselves and trying to get as much information as we can. So
And to me, that's crazy because why are you not allowed to know about like your sperm health or your egg health or whatever if you
yeah,
haven't been trying for a year? Like, can't we just know
yeah,
these things because we want to know these things about our bodies? Like, why
yeah,
is
you
this
would think.
like some secret test you can't have, you know?
Yeah, I know. Like, we have the sample here. You just test it. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Have you had to deal with a lot of the insensitive comments about like trying or, going
Mm.
through things like that?
Yeah, I would say so. It sometimes it's harder than others, and sometimes also it's not even the comments, it's just like being in the same room as like, oh, look at all these babies, and we just, realizing that we both feel a certain way, like it's not just me and it's not just him, it's like we're on this journey together. We kind of had that realization recently. We were at a party and like we bonded over both being sad, like, wow, I didn't realize it was also affecting you. Like guys, I think just express it differently. But yeah, like that stuff kind of, it does hurt me whenever someone says something like, and we talked about this on my podcast episode, like everything happens for a reason. And
Yeah.
so I get that one, or like, oh my gosh, I think the worst one, the one that probably hurt the most for me was someone that I'm close to had said, well, you do know that children are more work than dogs, right? I'm like, excuse me? Like,
What?
you mean I can't let them out to go to the bathroom?
Oh
um,
my gosh, like how would you ever think that that's something
yeah.
helpful to say to
Yeah,
somebody?
I'm
Like,
like, do you think I'm not ready to have kids? Because we're ready to have kids. It's kind of not your decision, like.
like quite
So
aware that they are work, okay?
yeah, exactly. And my dogs are, I will say, I have very high maintenance dogs. They have not been easy dogs whatsoever. Like I've honestly never met a pair of dogs more high maintenance than mine have been. They
See,
really,
so you're ready, then maybe your dogs are more work.
I know, who knows? Yeah, yeah, that's been wild, but even getting pregnant, that's been a lot of work too. So I'm like, nothing comes easy, it seems. You gotta put in the effort if you really want something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has it affected your relationship with your husband at all? Like has it made it tougher during some parts, or has it brought you closer together, or a little of both?
Definitely both. I think anyone could say that going through something difficult, like relationships, whenever you choose the other person, you're like saying yes to, okay, we're gonna go through even the hard things together and we're gonna have to like figure it out together. And it's definitely been like that. And it's also another layer has been interesting is he's been gone a lot of the time whenever like literally he's out to sea and people will say, so how's the fertility going? I'm like, well, the other house on the boat is on the ship right now, but I'm over here just trying to process stuff, and I'm sure he was in his own way like processing stuff as well, so that added stuff to it. And we did talk about how like the past 3 years that we've been married for 3 years now, and we kind of calculated it. Now, this is the time total where we've been together, physically together, like, and not just like talking on the phone or whatever. It's been about 8 months total that he's actually been home. And a lot of those are like, I'm here for a week, I'm gone for 2 months, back for 3 weeks, gone for a month. Like, it's been kind of wild like that. And so that's added a whole nother layer to our relationship. And what this other cliche people say is distance makes the heart grow fonder. And
Like,
I'm
oh,
like,
shut up
well,
with that, right?
I know. It is true though. I will say, like, we definitely missed each other a lot. And whenever we're together, it has only strengthened us in our appreciation for each other, because I think there's little things like just sitting there admiring him, being like, oh, I'm so happy you're just home. Like, you're on the couch with me. And it's nice having that. But then also it added that difficulty and how I had to really process myself of like, okay, it is possible that we are not getting pregnant this month. We didn't hit like the days on our ovulation window, or that's been, yeah, it's still been tricky. Like, even with that, I think there's still that mind game to it of trying to navigate the emotions of like, oh, I want to be hopeful, but also like, I want to be present in the moment. I don't want to get too wrapped up in like, oh, is this a pregnancy symptom? Is that or whatever? And sometimes I'll say like, there was there were moments whenever he's been gone where I'm like, oh wow, I haven't really thought about pregnancy this month because he's been gone. And in a way, there was like a relief of I haven't been thinking about that, but also I was really sad because I wanted him to be here and I wanted to think about that. And whenever I would think about that, I knew there was also that conflict internally of like, I don't want to overthink about it, you know? So it was a layered situation.
There are just so many
Yeah.
like emotions and like thoughts that go into it all. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to think about this all the time, but I do because I want it to happen, but I don't want it to consume my life. But,
Mhm.
and then I know for a lot of people, you think, well, if you're invited to a vacation or something, you think, well, if I got pregnant this month, I wouldn't be able to go. And then
Yes.
it's like constantly putting your
Mhm.
life on hold for that.
Yep, I know. I still wrestle with that after like 2 years of us wanting to have kids. And again, like, there were definitely, I would say at this point, it's probably been over a year of us hitting the fertile window. So we're still like past the time where doctors will be like, well, you should be pregnant by now, you know? We still, I guess the uniqueness is we have a lot more starting ground information with being able to advocate for ourselves in the way that we did. And that's a quality that I'm proud of myself for, is being driven and wanting to know and be like, I'm going to do everything it takes to get that information that we need, you know, because I knew even more so with him being in a system that doesn't prioritize wellness. They might say, you know, like, and this is not the opinion of the Navy, by the way. I feel like I always have to say this, and people that are interviewing and that I've interviewed in the past that are with the Navy, they're like, this is not the United States Navy opinion. Oh, just a sad wife. Yeah, like it's hard because they want you to be well enough to like, can you perform this task? Okay, you're good. Like, yeah, you can
Yeah.
manage that pain that you have going on because you're able to do the job that we need you to do, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah. They're not caring about like your mental health or your, you
mm,
know.
yeah, it's sad. It's very sad, all the rates of like, oh, the mental health side is a whole nother thing. It's sad the more you look into it. And oh man,
Yeah. I
yeah,
can imagine. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, mental health is already not prioritized in our country, and I know in
Hmm.
some places even less than others. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's like a whole nother topic
I
though.
know, I know.
I'm like, oh, that's kind of depressing to think about, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So how do you keep the hope up each month that you're trying and, seeing that negative, and how do you like keep hope and keep going with it?
That's a really good question. That's something I've struggled with because if you know, the name of my business is Fertile Hope Photography. That is my reminder every time I look at my invoices. I get to say, okay, I need to hope that. You know, it's like that's a reminder I needed. So really, it's that was a big part of what I needed, like that push to hope. So kind of what started, I had been podcasting a little bit. I had actually a different name of the podcast, but I still, because I had surrendered my teaching career, and I'm I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. I don't know if you know Enneagram stuff, but I'm very achievement driven. And like I felt like I always, basically, if there is something I'm doing as a hobby, it has to be turned into some kind of bigger project. I need to have some kind of big vision for it of like, okay, what business could this be? Or like, how is this gonna be? Like, what's the mission statement for doing this thing, for other people? Like, you could say you're gonna sell socks, and I'm gonna come up with this whole like big picture about the socks, and like, it could be anything. So this is how I am, and I felt like that had been taken away from me because what I had wanted my whole ever since I was in fourth grade, I was stuck on this idea I'm going to be a teacher, and I thought that had to look a certain way. Like I thought that had to look like I am standing in a classroom and I'm like teaching from a lesson plan that I made. And I loved doing that. Like I loved the creativity of it and the community of it. And so I was sad because I didn't know what I was going to do next. Like I was at a point where my endometriosis was so bad. And this was another big reason I had to stop teaching was any stress that I had would just inflame my endometriosis so bad that I literally would like stand in the corner of the room in between bells and just cry, gripping my stomach because I was like, oh, it's so bad. I couldn't really do stuff anymore like I used to. And again, I'm very thankful I recently had that surgery because I'm like, who knew excision surgery? That was like the gold for me. Yeah, so I had been podcasting thinking, okay, this is the thing that's going to fill this void. And I am a faith-based person. I'm like, surely like I should be content in God and the things that God's given me and all this stuff, but I still was just feeling this hole of I I quit teaching. I wanted to be a mother and that still hasn't happened. I've done all these things of certifying. I'm now a CNC, but what now? Like what do I do now? And back when I was in high school, there was a time that I really loved doing photography, and I did it for other people, thinking I wanted to make it into a business maybe. And in fact, I had considered the only time I ever considered changing my major was because I wanted to be a photographer. And because I'm also so driven, like I'm so driven, I get fixated on like one thing. When I then decided, no, I do want to stick to my plans of teaching, I literally just pushed my camera aside. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm just going to focus on this because this is my mission right now is to teach and like to empower youth and all this stuff. And so I had kind of, I think in my mind, decided that photography is a lesser mission. That's not like a big thing, How would you make this a big thing? It's literally you go take someone's pictures. But what's wild is one day I had this experience after I had recently booked a photo session for myself that was like a woman empowerment boudoir session. Not the type I photograph, but it was what I wanted to do because I was like, I need something to honor how far I've come this past year. And I just feel like this would be good for me. I need to do this. And so I had done that, and I going into it was like, I'm not going to let this convince me that I'm going to get back into photography because that's silly. Why would I do photography? And days passed, maybe even weeks passed after that. And then I was standing in the kitchen one day. Ironically, I was scrambling eggs, which is funny because fertility. But anyways, um, and literally it was just 3 words came to me, random, popped in my head, fertile hope photography. And I'm like, ha, you're funny, God. Like I just got just this title. I'm like, I know exactly what that is. Like I'm supposed to use photography to be like right where I am in this present season. It's meant to bring me hope for my fertility while also going alongside other couples who feel the need to be honored because quite honestly, as much as I love the photos from the session I did, it just wasn't what I was looking for. It wasn't like I felt like the intention of the art was to honor the heart and the fertility journey and all that. So it's like there's this niche here that needs to be filled, and I would love to do that. And so I immediately I started coming up with all the things that I was gonna do and offerings, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And ever since I've been fertile hope photography, and I'm still clinging to that hope that I was, in the beginning that came to me in that revelation of like, okay, scrambling eggs, how funny. Yeah.
That's one of those moments, like you'll never
Mhm.
forget that moment. And I do think it's funny because I do think God does have a sense of humor sometimes, and you're just
Yeah.
like, really, really, you're gonna do this to me,
Yeah.
like, you know?
Yeah. So it's been good.
So what exactly, like, what kind of sessions do you do, or what kind of, like, what are you trying to capture?
Yes, absolutely. So my kind of big statement is I'm on a mission to capture the hope in every season. And so what that looks like is I can photograph women empowerment. Like I have what I would say more of like this feminine, romantic, even maybe earthy, natural spin to things because I find a lot of womb power and connection with nature. And so I wanted that to be evident in my photos. So like my women empowerment sessions are usually in nature, fully clothed and not like the boudoir I had. Yeah, and so like they'll be holding a flower bouquet that they feel really resonates with their femininity. And then similarly, I kind of transition into I kind of capture it through different stages. So the fertility journey. I also use flowers and florals, different fauna, plant type things, and even their own props that are meaningful to them to help symbolize the journey. So whether that be experiencing a loss and honoring baby spirit in that way, or like showcasing the heart and the praying for baby and hoping that one day baby does come, and then into the celebration aspect of like, okay, pregnancy announcements and gender reveal and going into maternity, lifestyle, newborn family, all from there. It's like, to me, it really encapsulates the essence of womanhood and motherhood. That's like what my goal is, very like woman and mother centered, as like this beautiful, divinely blessed like human being is what I'm trying to capture.
Oh man, see, I really wish I had someone like you around when I was
Oh.
going through everything because that sounds, I mean, like something I would really have wanted captured. But I also wonder if I say that now as a perspective of being on this side of it, because sometimes when you're going through it, it
Mhm.
doesn't always feel like you want to capture that. But
Yes.
after having been through it, I'm like, man, I do wish I've gone through so much. I wish I could have, captured that whole journey like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that too, because honestly, the whole big picture of why like I really sparked the interest in okay, fertile hope photography was the whole fertility side of it, but most of the interest and the inquiries have come from like the after the fact of okay, now we're pregnant with baby, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like I love celebrating with those people, but like I do find it interesting that the niche that I was like, okay, I'm kind of craving this and wonder if others are craving the same. I realize everyone's different and like how they process grief and how they process these desires. And so not everyone wants that visual capturing. And I mean, I'm totally fine with that. This is like for people who do want to, and it can be even years down the road, like we're honestly like we're always going to honor baby, we're going to honor the journey to motherhood. So like I have people asking, okay, when are you going to do another mini session thing for a specific honoring baby mini session thing that I had? Because they're like, years ago, I lost baby, but I would love to honor them now in this visual form. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'll let you know. So yeah, it's like never too late because you're always honoring baby, you're always honoring that loss. So
Man, why are you not in Texas? You're so far away.
I
Now I'm like,
know, come to
okay, how can
Virginia.
I come up there and get some pictures
I
done?
know, for real vacation.
I know. Yeah, but no, I do. I love that you're doing that and capturing, all of those moments because,
Yeah.
as we all know now, a lot of us don't have that easy journey to motherhood and,
Mhm.
it can be years, it can take time and I think that I mean, I know we all hate this too. Like, you're so strong for going through it. But I do think we come out
Yeah.
strong going through things. It's just we don't want other people who haven't been through it to tell us that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness, yes. And really my goal, I want to honor that strength and celebrate that through photography. And even just being a presence, I think it makes a difference of having someone who can stand there and give a hug and be like, I understand. Like I personally understand the fertility journey that y'all are on, or that, those thoughts and worries once you do get pregnant of And even though I've not been pregnant yet, like I already am like thinking, okay, I know probably the worries I'm gonna have, and so like having someone that understands that side of things as you're also having the service done for you, I think is really impactful, and not just someone standing there like say cheese,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's like when when you have gone or when you're going through infertility or like when you just had a loss and you go in for like a doctor's appointment and like your doctor's pregnant and you're like, okay, I really don't think you
oh
understand like what
no,
I've
yeah,
gone through. So like I kind of equate it to that. Like that's just
yeah,
like being so disconnected, whereas with you, it's like you're so connected to it, if that makes sense.
yeah, very much so, yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any advice like that you would give people that are currently going through fertility struggles?
Going through fertility struggles, yeah. I would say number one thing, advocate for yourself. If someone's not listening to you like a provider, see if there's some kind of way you could either switch providers or research what are other ways of care that you could be receiving. Like first, here's an example. I was very much like, no acupuncture. I don't want acupuncture. Like, what does it do? Well, but the more I looked into it and the more I and read into it and also talked to people that have done it, I was like, okay, wait, this might be for me. Like, and so there's things like that, like just being open to hearing different things, because regardless of what route you go down, you're choosing off of their menu. It's like you go to a fertility clinic, their expertise is how to help you with assistive reproductive technology. Whereas you go to a functional health doctor, they might have a completely different approach of like, okay, let's do these labs and talk about, what supplements, deficiency, like they're going to go through all this other stuff. So yeah, kind of finding out what's out there, I would say is really good, and advocating for yourself if you feel like you're not heard. Like I've been through so many different OBGYNs because with endometriosis, I really did not feel heard at all, even though they knew what it was. They would say something like, well, just go on hormonal birth control. I'm like, I don't want to. First of all, I want to have kids. And second of all, I'm slightly convinced that might have made my problem worse after I got off of birth control, with just how the hormones affected me and never resolved after that. So, like, yeah, advocate for yourself and keep pursuing those answers, because it's worth it and you're doing a good job. Like, because you're here, just because you're listening, that says you're doing something.
I laugh when you talk about acupuncture because I did acupuncture and yeah,
Yeah,
at first I'm like, okay, I don't know about this, but you get to the point where you're like, I'll try
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
And no, actually it did really great things for my cycles because I have PCOS and I was just like, all you're doing is sticking needles in. Like I don't, how is this helping so much,
I know, I know. Yeah, yeah, it is wild how that works. Some of that stuff I can't even fathom. I'm like, yeah, I have my like certification, but there's other things that are just beyond me. I'm like, okay, you're the expert on that one, because I don't
Yeah. I'm
how it
like, you
works.
know
I don't
what? I
know.
don't know how or why it works, but it did, so I'll just keep going and let you do
Yeah,
your thing.
yeah,
But no,
absolutely.
I think that's really great advice because I think a lot of us don't advocate for ourselves because we just trust that the doctor knows what they're doing, that we should just listen to what they say. We don't think that we can switch doctors. And I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of stories actually of endometriosis and how it's really hard to diagnose and how a lot of
Yes.
people dismiss it. And it can take several doctor changes and several, just to even get that diagnosis.
Yeah, what I ended up doing, I was honestly, I got to the point, thank goodness we were able to like scrounge up the money to like pay out of pocket. But I mean, it was just like I had to go, not I had to, I very thankfully went 4 hours away to a special endometriosis place. Actually, I would be happy to say the name is PRM, Pelvic Rehabilitation Medicine. That's literally what they do all the time, is the endometriosis excision surgery. And for those who are listening, like, wait, I heard about the ablation. Like the ablation, that was another piece of research I found out, was ablation can be less effective longer term than the excision surgery. Like you're actually fully removing it and having someone that is well versed in it, because OBGYNs, to be honest, even if they do the ablations, they usually like deliver babies. They're not always like in there removing these things from the uterus and other organs. So like I feel like it is important to also be like, okay, find out whatever you need to know and see who's the expert in that you're able to go to and see if you can make it work. Because for me, it was very much worth it. I was like, yeah, we're not going to remodel our bathrooms this year, but I'm going to not be in pelvic pain. So it's a win for me. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, and like you said, it's great that you were able to come up with the money and,
Yeah,
be able to travel, but it seems unfair to me
it
that that's
is.
not something that should be covered for everybody. Like, why
I
should
know.
you have to suffer or, not remodel your bathroom because you have to spend all your money on not being in pain anymore?
Yeah, I know. It's sad. Life isn't fair. Yeah.
No, it really isn't. I mean, with PCOS too, I feel like doctors just, oh, well, go on birth control. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't solve everything. Like, you don't
Yeah.
understand how
Yeah.
much you're dismissing women who are going through these things.
I know, because a lot of us like we want to get to that root issue. Like we want to know, okay, but why do I have this? And like how can I support myself? What kind of foods can I be eating or what might be flaring this up? Like I want to be active in this and understanding. And again, it's the sad thing was like why did I have to go through this like expensive course to be an actual person that is now able to help other people with this? Why couldn't have I just like found that information? Like that's what's
Yeah.
frustrating too, is like, okay, well yeah, it's a whole rant of like the woman and the so I could talk about the moon and the lunar phases. Like it's a rant, you know.
Yeah. Which I've actually was reading about that recently, and I think that's super cool. I'm like,
Yeah,
and my husband likes to joke with me because at our last house in Georgia, like the moon would always shine really bright, like in our window, and I'd always complain about it. And so
yeah.
now anytime I talk about like the moon and like, oh, like with the cycles, he's like, what is your obsession with the moon? I'm like, oh, it's just cool. So yeah, random tangent, but I
That's
just think it's
hilarious.
funny.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's funny. Our husbands always have something to say about that. My husband, he's like, I don't know about this. Sounds kind of woo woo. I'm like, okay, but when you teach children, you know that there is some kind of wacky thing going on with the moon. Because I'm like, I don't even have to look outside. There's a full moon going on.
Yeah,
Like they're wild. I don't know.
I know. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
tell. So yeah, what's not to say that it affects other parts of our lives too?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, they always just have to get their 2 cents in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if people were interested in connecting with you, where would they go for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have a podcast and I interviewed Sarah on there as well. That'll be out super close to Thanksgiving. And it's called the Fertile Hope Podcast, named also after my photography, because everything is just like, Enneagram 3, we got to make it a big mission thing. And I love that. So, yeah. And then also on Instagram, a couple different things. So the podcast is the Fertile Hope Pod. My photography is Fertile Hope Photography _ VB, Virginia Beach is what it stands for. And then fertilehopephotograhy.com also has photography stuff and a little bit of the podcast. Like if you want to be on my newsletter where you get to have insight, I mean, like you get kind of all world to me. I'm like Hannah Montana. I got the holistic health and even just some philosophizing, whatever you philosophizing is. I don't know what that and the photography. So we got all of that like on there if you're interested. So yeah.
I'm gonna have to go sign up for that too. I love reading
Okay.
that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fun stuff. It's just like you peek into my brain and it's like, wow, there's a lot going on there.
that's okay because that's how my brain is too. It's like
Yeah,
from one
yeah,
thing to another, and I'm like, wait, I can't remember that thought just a second ago. But yeah,
yeah.
we get a lot done just in kind of roundabout ways, right?
Yeah, no, it works. It works.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a treat.
Thank you so much, Brooke, for sharing your story with us. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. If you like the show, please leave a positive review or rating on Apple or Spotify. It only takes a moment and really helps the show reach more loss and infertility families. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, we are all in this together.